House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 3 features an important clash between two warring families, the Blackwoods and the Brackens, and their conflicting allegiance on who should sit on the Iron Throne, Rhaenyra or Aegon. Only it didn't actually feature the battle. The episode begins with an argument between young boys from each family over property lines and cattle, and then it immediately cuts to the aftermath, which is about 1 billion dead bodies strewn about a battlefield in an absolute bloodbath that neither side could call a victory. In the books, it's called the Battle of Burning Mill, and it's the first official battle of the Dance of Dragons, and now it's the source of much controversy in the TV series, as some fans are angry we didn't get to see the actual battle. And that's been a point of contention throughout the TV version of Game of Thrones. There are the fans who want action. They want to see the battles. They want to see the dragons. They want to see TVMA sexual content, nudity, and or intense graphic violence. And a lot of those people have rocks for brains. And then on the other side, you have the high horse, sanctimonious, holier-than-thou, book-reading, Game of Thrones Reddit-analyzing nerds who think that they're above the battle scenes. They're smarter than everyone else. They only watch Game of Thrones for the socio-political symbolism, not the tits and fire. And a lot of those people are absolute assholes. And then there is I, Kevin Francis Clancy, first of his name from House Barstool, who pledges allegiance to neither of these factions. I am somewhere in the middle, which I imagine most people who aren't assholes are too. Truth be told, the last thing I like are drawn-out, extended battle scenes that take up a quarter of the episode, where all I see and hear are clanking swords for 10 minutes, before all of a sudden everybody's individual fights miraculously end at the same time, and someone's the winner. But I also understand that a huge part of Double R's world is this uncensored look into medieval life, which was gratuitously violent and sexual. So you gotta find that right balance. The villain from another often argued about franchise said it best, perfectly balanced as all things should be. In my humble but correct opinion, I'd say that Game of Thrones is at its best when the significance of the battle scenes are at the forefront when they ramp up the action. I don't like the Battle of Blackwater Bay because you get some heads chopped in half and some spears thrown through faces, although that is pretty cool. I like the Battle of Blackwater Bay because of the gravitas. We see Cersei holed up on the Iron Throne thinking death is imminent, telling Tommen stories about the mother lion protecting her cub, about to pour poison down his throat, and then Tywin kicks in the door.
Promise you.
The battle is over. We have won.
I like it because we see Stannis Baratheon's desperation. He's losing the battle. He's so close to the throne. He keeps trying to fight. His men are holding him back. And most importantly, I like the Battle of Blackwater Bay because of its significance for Tyrion.
Those are brave men knocking at our door. Let's go kill them!
Winning over the men of his army, they're chanting, half man, half man. He pulled off the wildfire trap that wiped out Davos' navy with that magical green explosion.
Matas! Get down!
That is what I like about battles. When they match the top-tier storytelling with the memorable visuals that are forever burned into your brain. Now, in the Game of Thrones world, I'd say we're about 50-50 when it comes to those action sequences. Cersei blowing up the Sept is the best scene in the whole series. The Night King raising the dead as Jon sails away at Hardhome, amazing. The Knights of the Vale arriving at the Battle of the Bastards, the Mountain versus the Viper, all that's fantastic. The long night battle where we couldn't see anything to the point that showrunners blamed our television settings, hot trash. Dany going from the breaker of chains to Mad Queen in like a 15-minute span, burning innocent women and children, series ruiner. Now, obviously, for Thrones, there's a clear delineation between the early action sequences and the later action sequences when the show was all but ruined. But this is House of the Dragon. It's a fresh, clean slate, and now we have our first debate about the amount of action we see. Now, me personally, I didn't need an extended 15-minute battle between the Blackwoods and the Brackens when they haven't even been in the series up until this point. I do think there was some intent behind the way that they showed it. They started with just boys shoving each other over the placement of rocks and some cattle, and then immediately cut to a sword through an eye socket and a battlefield soaked in red, highlighting not only how deathly serious the rightful claim to the throne is taken by these people, but just how much senseless blood has been spilled by warring families over who sits on that chair. It's like the details of the battle itself don't matter. The only point is that it's just another battle in an endless war of attrition. I don't think we needed an extended scene showing fake medieval battle tactics to convey that message. But that being said, I do still think the Battle of Burning Mill was mishandled and that it could have been done better. Because if you read the books or any complimentary content to House of the Dragon, you know that the Blackwoods and the Brackets have been fighting for like 10,000 years. They quickly mention this during a scene with Aegon's council, that the two houses have been fighting for so long they don't even know why they hate each other. And then towards the end of the episode, we have Rhaenys describing the exact same situation brewing with the Targaryens. She said, quote, "Soon they will not even remember what began the war in the first place. before warning that there is no war so hateful to the gods as a war between kin, and no war as bloody as a war between dragons. So if this episode or previous episodes of the season had spent just a little more time with the Blackwoods and the Brackens and Riverrun, it would have been the perfect bookends. Like if House of the Dragon just showed a little more of the build-up, highlighting just how senseless the Riverrun rivalry truly is before cutting to the scene of 1,000 dead bodies, it would have tied together so nicely with that Rhaenys speech at the end of the funeral of the twins. Really driving home a good old-fashioned, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it sort of message. And again, that doesn't mean we need broadswords and battle axes showing decapitations and throat slittings. It just could have had a little more meaning behind that amazing shot of the battlefield covered in bodies. And that's what A Song of Fire and Ice is at its best, when the meaning matches the measures taken.